475, and it's a little more than $1.30, $1.40. I just think you just never have him beat here. You go ahead and call king queen. So it was really close, and that's a tough read, especially out of a 78-0. But the fact that we don't have any hands. Let's assume we had 100 hands on the guy, and he's a 78-0-0-0. He's never betting on the river without the nuts. So it's kind of weird he didn't just check behind there, because usually a player like this will. So once again, we're kind of seeing river aggression paid off by your opponent, who has seemed to outdraw you. Here we go. Good raise. Yeah, I guess that's fine. And that's an okay flop to c-bet. He checks, and you check behind. I guess the fact you didn't have anything really going on there prevented you from betting, but I think a lot of the time you can go ahead and c-bet something like that, and you'll be all right. And so he bets the queen. I think you're not raising here ever because, well, yeah, I mean, does he bet as a 9-3? No. Does a 9-3 bet his draws? No. And so you go ahead and make the call. That's fine. The jack, and then he pots the river, and I think it's a good time to really think, what does he do this with? This is kind of a trickier hand because, all right, so I think you might have an 8, some sort of weak pair. But do you have enough to be raising here? And I think you do. So I'm getting him in. You go ahead and make the call, and I think with 2 pair here, I think you're good a lot of the time. I think he just shows a weak king, a mid pair kind of hand, like 9-10, which actually has you beat. Wow, it's been a long time for me doing these videos. Totally didn't recognize that. The call was fine. Please erase everything I've said. So he actually shows aces, which is just really super bizarre. But yeah, I think the river call is fine. I apologize. Totally didn't spot the board straight there with the 9-10. But yeah, I think the call is fine. I don't know. It goes either way. I mean, you might just shove and get it in. He'll call a lot of the time, but it's kind of a trickier hand there, and I think it was played fine. So hopefully I'll not shoot off the cuff there anymore, and really kind of look at the hand a little bit closer here. I apologize for the last one, because I'm not looking at what the other guy had or the results before I do commentary, just to make it a little bit more honest and upfront. So big blind calls and limp fold, and so Jack 3, great flop for queens. Hopefully. So he goes ahead and pots it. So you go ahead and make a raise, a min raise, which I never like. And he calls you, which is just terrible. You check it, and I think calling this is real tough. But you do. He's going to show you a jack, isn't he? Oh, pocket kings. All right, so I guess that's just one of the weird hands at this level. I think you lost kind of the minimum here. Let's see. He calls out of the big blind, out of position with kings. It's just incredible. He pots, you min raise, which I didn't like, and then he just calls. You check there, which I like a lot. And then you bet and you call. So yeah, as played, I like it a lot. It's fine. King 10 on the button, I'm assuming. Under the gun limper was 69-19. I think that's the race has to be a little bit bigger when you're isolating a limper, especially in early position. He goes ahead and calls because he's not going to fold with much. Flop open-ended and overcard and backdoor flush draw. That's fine. So you're c-betting this. That's good. He calls, and again, this kind of gets this gets back into the concept of wet flop. You need to be c-betting more. So I think pot or even just 40 cents would have been fine. He goes ahead and calls. You break that off. You've got to check it. Good turn play. And the 10 for top pair, but dicey situation. This is a tough call here because any 6, any jack has you beat, and there's merits to throwing this way. So you go ahead and make the call. and he just shows you a pair of fours. So I assume you just said, hey, 69-19, chances are he's got just really random trashy hands. So yeah, okay, good play. All right, we've got ace king in the small blind, one limper, and I definitely don't like this raise size because normally I say 4 times the big blind, so that's 20, plus 1 for every limper, that's 25, and then if you're out of position, another big blind. So I think minimum 30, 35 would have been appropriate there. So he goes ahead and makes the call because he's never folding that. Unfortunately, it's just absolutely horrible flop. You check. He bets it, and I think there's a really, really good case to just toss this, and maybe you do. So you go ahead and raise him, which check raise here is, I mean, he's got to think is either the nuts, which, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you had like aces or kings or even pocket eights, why would you check raise here rather than just check call? Hopefully a heart wouldn't come off. I mean, it's a more believable story. But he goes ahead and calls, and I think you just absolutely have to shut down at this point. Yeah, so I don't like the check raise there too much, just because it's not too believable you had anything other than, I mean, even if you had aces, you're c-betting, so yeah, not the best board to be check raising with, in my opinion there, but I like the guts, no guts, no glory in this game for sure, so let's move on to the next hand. Okay, that's a good call with 6s. And you're open-ended, but you got the donkey into the straight with the 6. So if he's got a 10, you're just practically drawing dead. So you're drawing basically a 4 outs, obviously. So he goes ahead and bets. You might want to... God, I didn't realize how much he had behind him. Let's take a look at this. He raises. If I see a guy like this raise, and look at all these people with no money. It's so weird. I mean, maybe you just 3-bet this to, 125 and just get it in heads up, and if it's a coin flip, fine. There's a lot of dead money in there. So, didn't notice that at first, so that's something always to recognize at the table, and I think I mentioned it in a few other videos. Just always pay attention to the stack size of your opponent, because in this situation, you're all but committed at the flop, no matter what it is. So I think that's exactly how it played out, and he shows pocket aces. So you're not too bad off. Let's see if you hit. You do not. So unfortunately, you would have been shoving in aces there, but I think a lot of the time you'll see short stack bad players just play really weird and go ahead and be okay with shoving really weird hands like ace 5 or something. So unfortunately, I don't know if you see good short stackers at this limit, but I doubt it. Unfortunately, he actually looks like he kind of knows what he's doing as a 12-12. All right, so we got time for one more. We do 20-minute videos here, so got a lot of limpers. You check top pair, and you go ahead and lead out. I kind of like that. And he goes ahead and calls, and I think you just get it in against him right now. You check, you bet, you call. So I guess the plan there was to either to check raise him all in, check call him all in, which is fine. He shows the flush draw, he bricks off, and you take it down. So overall, there was a couple coolers here. Looking at it, you ran well below EV. And a couple of spots where you just got to really respect even a fish knows to shove the nuts at the river. And so, a real key you're going to have to learn when you move up, and it's something that I'm even studying now. So don't think, wow, these 100 or 200 no limit players, have this mastered. They don't. Is to really gauge river aggression from opponents and really learning the art of bet folding and recognizing when a super passive player suddenly becomes ultra aggressive, that it's time to fold and get rid of the hand. So overall, a tough session for you. I know it probably felt miserable to drop almost 3 buy-ins at this level. It's something that we're all dealing with and going through at one point, at multiple points, obviously, during the week or the month or how often you play. But stick with it. You'll be fine. Your game's solid. And for the rest of you, we will catch you next time here TightPoker.com. Thanks for watching.